In case you were wondering why this episode started with such epic music, that's because it is a very significant episode, and I'll tell you why. Generally, whenever we reach out to our guests, we are at pains to convey to them that we don't wish to solicit anything personal. Same was the case with our guest today. And it's very, very rare when, perhaps for understandable reasons, when a mental health professional is willing to share an insight into their personal lives and experiences, because obviously, I suppose they don't want certain things to be in the public domain. But our guest this evening is very generous and very gracious and has agreed to speak quite frankly and openly about several facets of her life, both professional as well as personal. And therefore, we are calling today's session of talk therapy Seeking Liberty. And joining us is neuropsychologist Shagufta Naz. And I'm very, very grateful that she has been as forthcoming and open as she has. Hence, the epic music to begin with. We are very excited for this conversation. I think it's going to be an extremely important interaction. And in all sincerity, I would like to thank Shagufta and welcome her. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Karthik, for having me on your podcast. And the introduction was quite, I'm taken aback. Thank you so much for such good words. I'm happy to be here and also excited, a little nervous as well to mention.
That's it's wonderful, and like I said, a little bit of nervousness and butterflies is always good. It tends to keep us on our toes. Now, the reason I never take the liberty of talking about my guest's work is because I invariably hash it up. So, why don't we begin with you in your own words, telling our viewers a little bit about your work and your practice?
Yeah, sure. So, as you introduced, I am a practicing neuropsychologist. So, my work basically revolves around giving treatment to children who have been diagnosed with neurodevelopmental disorders. Also, about around counseling their parents, and most of my work is in providing different types of therapy, enabling the children to become independent. Uh, so they're able to perform their daily duties and what seems normal to us is not normal for them, so to find their normal and enabling them to reach to their full potential is what I work for. And other than that, yeah, so that is particularly about my work.
That's absolutely wonderful. And like we had discussed when we first got in touch, that we have had, by sheer coincidence, recent dialogues around neurodivergence. And as critical and important as a theme as that continues to be, for purely selfish reasons, we've decided to take a different direction in today's episode. But it's really wonderful that you do the work that you do. I'm going to quickly add here, because perhaps Shagufta is too modest to mention it herself, that she's a very, very good and accomplished singer. So maybe we'll have a little bit of a tune at some point. Now, sometimes, I'm not saying always, but particularly when it comes to mental health practitioners, I've noticed that uh, quite a few of you tend to come into this type of work informed by certain personal experiences, whether they are personally of distress that you've navigated, or somebody very close to you has been through something, and then it kind of nudges you into this field of work. Give us a sense of some reasons why you chose this line of studies and subsequently work.
Yeah, as you said, as like very well mentioned, that some of us just come in this field by our, live certain experiences, and while also looking after some examples, or we just jump into it. But honestly, for me, it was not sort of I'm destined to like heal the world kind of decision. But mental health wasn't even a mainstream career option for us at that time. For me, why I personally chose it is because of the curiosity, the immense curiosity that I have to understand the why of what's happening, and what is the reason behind if somebody is reacting in a particular manner. Like there could be a similar situation for different kind of people, but each one of us, we tend to react or reach we have different approaches towards a particular situation and different situations. But what makes it different for each one of us is how we approach and why we approach it in that manner. So there lies the intersection between that brain and the behavior thing. How and what goes inside your mind, what chemical reactions take place, and how did you relate to that situation, and why would you approach it in that manner? It all is being affected because of our own experiences, and it could be some certain past experience, or different kind of things that happen with us. So we tend to have different approach towards things that happen to us. One could be very positive about it, one could be sort of cynical about it. But yeah, this is what makes us human, and this is what creates uh, a pool of personality. And for me, it was just that curiosity to understand what's happening beneath that behavior. Why did this person actually behave in that manner? And that is one of the reasons why I started off with my in my undergrad, I started with my studies with forensic science, because I was quite fascinated with knowing the reasoning. So this curiosity has led me to this path, where from forensic science I found my way. I navigated a bit, and then I wanted to understand. Everything is being controlled from here, and we don't actually tend to give a lot of credit to our brains. We think that it's us doing it, but it's a lot of layered things, the chemical
Hmm.
reactions, the experiences that we hold, and the kind of personality that we have. Everything is in here. So it was quite fascinating for me to understand that, and for that I had to I ended up in this field, and yeah, so the curiosity is quite high, and that hasn't killed this cat yet. So I'm
Oh, I'm glad you said it yourself and I didn't have to. But thank you for that honest answer. Now, the thing is that the thought that's popping into my head may seem like I'm trying to be cheeky, but I'm not. When did were you that annoyingly inquisitive kid in class and at home, or when did this curiosity kick in?
Yeah, I would say I used to ask a lot of questions, not to the liking of the people around me. You know, why do you want to know everything? So it was just I was trying to understand, I could have just at times we tend to just take the information as it is. But for me, I tend to question it. Why? Why do you want me to do it? And why should it be done in this particular manner? So I believe that we have to have that approach. We have the reasoning, where we have the reasoning for why we are doing it and what we are doing it. It should not be like doing things cluelessly, not having an idea. I mean, it's fine if you're trying to figure out, that is okay. But at the same time, we also need to be true to ourselves that I need to know why I'm doing this. So I think majorly through staying true to myself, and not confusing myself why do I want to do it. It was sort of I did my homework, my research, that which field would actually feed this part of me, where I'm getting my inquisitiveness fed properly. And then yeah, so this was the field, I think, where I get to ask questions and not just give advices. It's not just plainly, yeah, you should do this. I mean, you need to know why you need to do this, right? So yeah, this field actually allows me to do that, and that's why I am in this.
No, but I mean, on a perfectly sincere note and joking aside, I think it's a critical quality for any human being to possess because that is really the foundation of societal change, and even, the sort of smallest micro changes within us to larger ones in the world are brought about because we question the status quo and we don't just accept it because wo chale aa raha hai. So it's really, really
Correct.
important, and which also then sort of organically and very conveniently brings me to ask you a little more about this annoying, inquisitive child in you. Give us a sense of your childhood. Who were you? What were you up to? What did you like doing?
Okay, honestly, if I say music was something that I found it in a way like I was initially put into playing tennis, but I very often, like very soon, I realized that my arms are not made for that or for doing any physical activity per se. So
So your arm
I
was already here because it had to go ah and not the drive.
Yeah, in doing the alarm. So I was using it in the wrong place. I got it I got to understand that very soon. And yeah, as a person, I think I am somebody who doesn't want to be in an uncomfortable situation and don't want to put myself into that. So that's also one of the reasons this field actually helps me to understand myself better. Like, if I need to do something, I need to know it very well.
Hmm.
So it saves a lot of time and it saves that energy as well. And yeah, talking about my childhood, I think, yeah, after that, my mother has played a very crucial role in understanding what I like and where her energy should be used. So she got to know that I am interested into music, and that's how I ended up learning Indian classical. So I went ahead and learned it for like quite a few years. I would say till like fifth or sixth year of like the academics of music, I
Yeah,
would say.
yeah, yeah.
Till that time, and after that, also along with that, I have been very studious. As much as studious, I would like to consider myself. I was also quite a risk taker. So I was a single child, and when you're left unsupervised or when you're not being surveillance, so at that time you just tend to do a lot of things and try to figure out what works best for me. So as you said, that I would say I was very mischievous as well, and one of the things that I like the most is making people laugh and like creativity, creating something new, making some changes or change has been a very important factor. And I tend to chase that thing quite often in every possible, like small possible ways,
Hmm.
wherever I can. So I try to incorporate that thing in my personal life as well. And other than that, I am from Delhi. I've studied in a convent school surrounded by a lot of people from like diverse backgrounds. I've always been very sort of extrovert and ambivert, somewhere in between. And I had a lot of friends, still have. So like a social butterfly, not really a butterfly. I choose my plans. Yeah, that's the kind of childhood I've had, and
So this is becoming extremely interesting because you seem to represent such eclectic mix of attributes and qualities. You were curious, you were questioning, you were a single child without the distraction of being bullied or bullying in either scenario, an older or younger sibling. It only follows then naturally that you were also automatically reasonably observant of your surroundings and of the world and of things that are happening in society. Uh, do you remember having a sense of when you sort of first had a consciousness of the fact that you're a girl, you're of a certain religion, those kinds of things? When did they consciously occur to you?
Honestly, for me, all my childhood is actually shaped by the women around me and the women in my family. Especially my mother, who has raised me as a single parent, and all the other working women in my family. So my idea of, normal was women who went out, who worked, who took decisions, who held all the responsibilities and came back and they were still running the whole family and,
Hmm.
running the whole system. So growing up, it was not like when you're growing up in that environment, it changes how you look at identity
Of
and
course.
how you know, identity or gender. And as a child, you don't analyze everything, but you just take it as it is, and you think that okay,
मैं
this is
मैं
how
एक
we
मिनट
are.
इंटरप्ट करूं. आई एम रियली सॉरी. सो देयर इज अ वेरी interesting connected aspect to what you're commenting on, which perhaps you can include or put at the back of your mind somewhere.
Yeah.
You are growing up in this, what is to you status quo of empowered women and that kind of a milieu, which to me, as a lay person, as an outside observer, can contrast quite starkly with a lot of what Delhi otherwise is. And similarly, being of the Islamic faith can also then be contrasted by sheer virtue of attending a convent school. So I just want to plant those two things and comment on them at some point.
Okay, okay. As in, like me going to a convent school and
Yes,
also,
yes.
yeah. So should I comment on these
No,
things
no,
or
no,
should I
no.
continue?
Please continue. So you were saying that this is the sort of world you knew.
So growing up in that, environment, it changes how you look at the identity or gender, all these labels. So as a child, you don't tend to analyze these things and you just take it as it is. Like, okay, this is how things are, and so for me, these kind of things tend to be normal,
Hmm.
which were not very normal for like families of other communities or like, let's say, of my same community,
Yeah, yeah.
especially. So, and for like religion as well, it was quite similar because you become aware of it in a very day-to-day life. It's just happening around you. It's very normal for you. Okay, I have to get up, I have to read Quran. This is a normal thing for me. But when you go out, it depends on the way how people react to your name, to your festival, your culture. There's some holiday and it says that it's Eid al-Fitr, so everybody would get very curious about, oh, what do you do on that day? How does it happen? Like, okay, so there were a lot of questions in my childhood. I remember, like people, they had all sorts of these theories, and they would ask that since you write Urdu from left side, do you also tend to make roti on the other side of the
Ah, wow.
that?
Wow.
That was such a interesting question. I'm like,
So I mean, then
where did
this is, I find this hilarious. I'm really sorry, but did everyone assume that you did everything ulta?
yeah.
Gosh.
We don't. I mean, they had this idea. They were also all kids, and it was so surprising for me. I was like, I don't even know how to explain this to you. Like, we don't do that. And at times they
और
would
you
be
could have
questioning.
said कि हमें तो हम हमारे यहाँ तो केवल उल्टे हाथ का चाटा पड़ता है.
I used to be very surprised by these kind of questions at that time, and it took me a little while to understand, okay, how to approach these questions. How do I answer? So I built that humor around that because as a kid, you're also very sensitive to these kind of comments. You're
Absolutely.
like, okay, am I different? Am
Yeah.
I not from the gang? Do I not belong here? You know, and some certain things or some news flash would happen, and then suddenly there's different glance at me. So
Hmm.
these kind of things have happened. But yeah, so religion was not something for with regards to religion, identity, gender. It was not a thunderbolt moment like, oh my God, this
Hmm.
is my identity, this is my religion.
Hmm.
It just happened in a way like it happens for every other person in a very natural manner. For religion, it was just that the way people react to the things that you do, how differently you do it, all those things regarding the food, the culture, festivals that you celebrate, how you do it. So it is because of the reaction you become conscious of that thing, that okay, I belong from this religion, I belong from this particular community. Other than that, I don't think it's a very striking moment for you to take it all in. And
Sure.
it was not very shocking. It was more sort of awakening. So, yeah,
But okay, I mean, I completely understand that, and in fact, if anything, I'm touchwood really relieved and happy that you didn't have anything sort of really stark or call a spade nasty happening. But talk a little bit, if you will, about identity itself, because as one grows older, one starts to ponder slightly larger questions of life. One starts to ask oneself. There's a certain inquiry that starts, isn't there? Like whether it's, where do I stand politically? Where do I stand spiritually? Where do I stand in so many ways? How did your identity shape up as you went through middle, high school, college?
which for me, it was when you're at the other side, of the line, where you're actually an observant and things are happening around you and to you, you tend to get very humble. And with these situations, with these things, I actually humbled myself, because earlier it was very disturbing for me, because, okay, why are they questioning me? Do I not belong? All those kind of questions were used to come in my mind. But
Ek
then,
minute, ek minute. I'm a little bit confused. So can you contextualize that with an example, even if it's a hypothetical example, कि ये कौन था और किस तरह का question I didn't quite follow.
so I think जैसे कोई न्यूज फ्लैश आया है that some incident has happened,
Right.
and the group of people, they belong from this community.
Correct, correct.
So
Got it.
in school, when you're kids, you don't see yourself with that group of people. You're just a normal human being, you're just a normal kid. For me, what happened is, right after that news was coming, there is group of children, they would often tell me that, oh, you're from Pakistan. Oh,
Right.
did you do it? Or like, when there's, in a normal day, when there's a match between India and Pakistan, these are the kids I'm talking about around me who used to question, oh, you must be happy that Pakistan has won. You must be sad that Pakistan has lost. So these kind of questions, they
But these can be deeply upsetting statements.
it was, but then you have to live with that, because you cannot wipe off all the stereotypes these people have, and these are the kids, and it is on their parents who have taught and what kind of.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I'm not for a moment suggesting that वो कोई बच्चे evil थे or something. Of course, they are essentially representing what they are hearing and उनका जो exposure है. But I'm saying that as a young child who's at the receiving end of these kinds of comments and questions, etc., it must be upsetting. And then in those phases or in those instances, even if they were very, very finite, how did you sort of samjhao yourself, or did you go and talk to your mother, or what did you do?
Actually, being very emotionally open was not sort of a normal thing, which used to happen in my household, I would say. Yeah, I would tend to go for every small little thing to my mother and ask her what is happening, help me understand this thing. But I think with this particular thing, I just took it all in, because I was able to relate. Okay, fine, I belong from this community. Maybe that's why they think that I also belong from this place. Or there is a clear demarcation that we belong from India and the other country is, Islamic country. But that does not mean that I belong from that place. Okay.
Let me ask you this in a this same thing in a slightly different way. Let's say, fine. I mean, one understands that आप पूरी दुनिया के साथ तो justify करोगे नहीं या अपना stance रखोगे नहीं. That might be, a huge waste of time, effort, etc. But were there points in your life where at least to a few close friends or people you would feel and sort of try to convey to them that, buddy, these people are as alien to me as they seem to you?
to seek that validation.
To seek validation, or just be, or just sort of demonstrate where you're coming from, because you find them so alien yourself, तुम क्या जवाब दोगे?
Right. Exactly. Like I do not belong. Yeah. As you said that, of course, that a part of me was questioning, and I did feel bad about it because I did not want to be outcasted like that. As a kid, you do not want that thing to happen to yourself. So I think because of that fear of being outcasted, you don't just verbalize everything that you're feeling.
Yeah.
You tend to keep it inside. And as a child, I was also I don't know, because of the kind of situation, the living arrangement I was in, I used to be very mindful of what I'm saying. So with
Hmm.
these children as well, I would not say a very mature kid and all, but yeah, when you're living alone, you have that certain kind of, you know, I don't know, the understanding is quite
Yeah, I
different.
think you have a mindfulness, उससे मतलब actually थोड़ा self censoring ही होता है, but it's for the greater good.
Exactly. It's for that. But yeah, it was not very good. Ki you're not expressing at all. It's not that good because you tend to suppress everything. That's not good
Absolutely.
at all.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what used to happen with me. But in this particular situation, I would say I did never took that bold move. Okay, let me tell you what is happening. No, this is not that, because you need that courage in yourself and you need that kind of knowledge to talk about it. And I did not feel that confident in that moment of my life to even talk about it or to question, why are you asking me this is not this way. And the tension has been there since forever. So for me,
Absolutely.
it was just things happening to me which were not very tasteful, which were not very delightful. But yeah, it's just, I have to let it be. And after a point, I think I grew a very thick skin towards it. Now it used to hurt a little till a point of time, but then you just see around, and then you see how they treat you and what they say. The people who are actually very sweet to you, but they might be discriminatory in their actions. But with me, I think it has been different. They might joke around it, but the love and the affection that is there, it's very pure and it's very mutual. The respect is quite mutual. So I believe that the kind of people, these people whom I had these kind of interactions with, they were not an in group. They all belonged to different groups, and I did not know them. So it was all purely coming from the unknown factor. We don't know, we're just happy to say these things, so we'll just say it, sort of like that.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Which brings me to my final two questions, and the interrogation will end. एक तो मुझे ये पूछना है that you know, and let me make it crystal clear that obviously neither you nor I nor any individual for that matter on this planet is, a representative of their larger community, etc. These are all very very personal points of view that you have. But today, having come from the context and the backdrop that we have just been discussing, today, having reached a certain age and stage and seeing the situation our country currently is in, again, I go back to the identity question. What do you feel like today? And let me qualify that further by asking you a very blunt second part to the question, that, for example, when you see that people from your community are perpetrating certain crimes, etc., do you see them as uh, criminals, or do you see them as of that religion?
I tend to see them as humans first. What they do and how they do it is all on the basis of their own values and the ethics that they carry. Because I don't think any religion, let's say, this is, we are talking about our community, my community, Muslim community. Let's say if the criminal is from other community, we don't tend to talk about their communities or which religion they follow,
Yeah.
because that takes a back seat when it's about the other communities and the other religions.
Sure.
But when it's from this particular community, the first headline says that Muslim man or Muslim woman was dead,
Yep. Yep.
right? So it's the choice of words that we do, but also, which for me, how I approach it is, an individual should be approached as an individual. They have criminal minds. because of the ethics and the kind of values that they have. Because no religion, no faith is actually teaching you inhumanity and going around and killing people. This is unacceptable, and it should not happen, because the right to live is non-negotiable, and it stands true for everyone, whether you're from Muslim community or from any other community, or
Most
Sikh or
definitely.
that does not matter. You're a human first, and then you follow any other religion. So we need to approach each other as first humans first, beyond any labels, I would say. So if a criminal, whichever background, whatever background they have, they are criminals. That's it. And I would not tend to soften the kind of crimes that they have done. I would not try to soften the limits that they have gone to. If they have done something inhuman, that is inhuman, and it should be called out. But it should not be collective, and it should not point out the innocent people who happen to be from the same community, but their values and ethics are quite different from what this criminal mind would do. And criminal could be anyone. It could be my neighbor. It could be someone I know. It could be anyone who's not thinking right in the mind, and they have gone to that extremity where they feel that they need to kill someone, where they need to cause any harm. It needs a lot of disturbance in here. So it does not matter what I follow, what I do, but it does matter what kind of ethics I have in myself. And that is because of the personality, the human that you are. First is that, as an individual, what kind of a person you are. No matter where you're from, what do you do. These are, the not very important questions. And yeah, this is what happens because every time there is some, any action which is inhuman, and any sort of, this attack. So we tend to take that into out of the context that this person is first he's Muslim, then he did this. Why aren't we questioning the kind of action that he has done? Why
Absolutely.
does it matter which religion or what background he holds? It's just important to know that this is a person, he has done something which is of criminal offense, and he should be charged for that. Nothing other than that.
I take your point. That makes perfect sense. Let me ask you this then. You are from Delhi, that's the capital of our country. You currently reside in what would be considered widely one of the most cosmopolitan cities of the country. You are well educated, you're working, you're building a successful career. Nowadays, are there instances that happen either regularly or once in a while that make you feel lesser or embarrassed on account of being a Muslim?
I don't think that I would ever be embarrassed of being a Muslim, because, as I said, that the way I approach any individual or any human being is I by seeing how they act and what they say, what kind of things you say, what kind of treatment you give to people around you. It's just that is the demarcation that I have in my mind. And for me, following my religion and for being in this community can never be of shame, because it's the people and their choices. It's
I didn't explain myself properly. Let me give you an example where this would have nothing to do of something that you've encountered directly. You are who you are. You're a certain age. You're working. You live in India. You're an Indian citizen. Then you hear or read a report in the newspaper that even in a cosmopolitan city like Bombay, let's say, young Muslim couple found it very difficult to find housing on account of their religion. Don't you feel bad?
yeah, around that. I think these two questions were different.
Huh, nee, but that's what I said, that I didn't explain
I have
myself
multiple
properly.
experiences to
This is
share.
what I
Okay.
mean to ask you, that as
Okay.
a
Okay.
young Muslim in this country today, when you hear of certain very, very blatant prejudices that
Yeah.
continue to exist against a particular community, uh, do you feel bad that this is the India that you're in? Do you feel bad you are Indian? What happens?
So I do have a real story to share around this because I have faced it myself while I was hunting for my for this flat. We actually, I got in touch with a broker. So I called him up and the conversation went very well. And he asked me to share my Aadhaar card. And he's like, ma'am, can you please tell me your name? So I went ahead, I told him my name, and then he just went silent after
Oh,
that.
you were ghosted, is it?
On call, he
Oh,
could not
okay.
bring
Wow.
himself. He
Hmm.
could not bring himself to say that, oh, आप up wo like he's trying to find that word. He's not even able to say that word as if there's some taboo attached to that word. And
Wow.
I literally had to tell him that, हाँ भैया आप बोल सकते हो मैं मुस्लिम हूँ. So these are
No,
the kind
I'm
of
glad you can laugh about it, but it's just not funny.
yeah, I mean, in that moment, it did feel like, it's just that it's happening around you. It happens so many times that you cannot do anything about it but to laugh because this is
Yeah.
the condition that we are in right now. With my first flat as well, I had to face the similar thing, but my other flatmates, they didn't even know me. You see, they're not even from the community. They do not, they're from different backgrounds, different religions that they're following. And these girls, they came up for me and they vouched for me just because the this owner he was not ready to give me the flat because I was Muslim. I am Muslim. So these girls they said that oh we know her, it's fine, she'll be
Wow.
okay. These kind of reassurance that he needed, as if it's like you are carrying
Yeah,
something
yeah,
with us
yeah, yeah, yeah,
harmful to everyone.
yeah.
So these girls they just vouched for me. So yeah, there are all types of people that we see in the same space because these are the girls who they had to live with me. They didn't even know me, but they were okay to even talk for me or like give the reassurance from my behalf. And
But with these kinds of things happening, which is really what actually my fundamental line of inquiry was, when these kinds of things happen to progressive, well-educated citizens of India, religion to bahut baat ki baat hai. And we pride ourselves allegedly on being secular, etc. And when these kinds of things happen in today's day and age, um, what happens to one's sense of belonging, etc.?
yeah, it does raise a question inside you where you're like, since it's the occurrence and the frequency is so much that you get numb towards it and reacting and not reacting is like and on a personal level what you're asking is how do I feel that belongingness that was never questioned because in my heart I know that I belong to this place, but it's just that recurring reassurance that we have to provide to the people around us that oh we belong here, I have always been here, I was born here, this place is mine as well as it is
But
yours.
in the best case scenario, that would be really tiresome, and in the worst case scenario, it can just be
It
completely
is
shattering.
it is very tiring and it is very it does not help you in any way because on the other sphere of your life you're like working and you're meeting different kind of people and there is all sorts of things that you're doing in your life, you're progressing and trying to be successful in this sphere, and on the other side you have to prove whether you're harmful or not.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
On a
Yeah.
personal level it actually pinches you a lot because why do you even think about us like that? And there have been times where people would just see me and they will be like, "Oh, you work in this field." They've seen me with my apron. They would ask, and as soon as I tell my name, I see that hesitation on their face.
Hmm.
That hesitation, it just appears. That smile fades away, and so I don't know what kind of experiences they've had, or whether they've had any experiences or not because of the
Hmm.
big wall that they've created around themselves.
Yeah,
So I
I think it's other forces at play. I don't think it's any personal experience because ऐसे होता ही नहीं है.
वो अभी मुझे लग रहा है बॉलीवुड में भी बहुत ऐसा
हाँ
आ
हाँ,
गया है ना.
वो हर जगह हो रहा है. It's a 360 degree multi-pronged approach. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Personally,
okay, well, huh.
create that impact in your head. And there's been a very long time. I'm actually laughing about it right now, but at times when I could not find any flat, it was very tiring and very frustrating for me, because I am in the healthcare, and I all I want to do is, make things better
Sure.
wherever I'm going. I'm gonna do create something better, do something good for to change the lives, and which is not just a matter of fact, which is not just what I'm saying. It's something that happens every day in the field,
Of
right? We're
course.
doing where we're trying to do our best. We're trying to bring the best in others as well. And on the other side, this is what we hear. Like, you have to prove this. You have to extra verification for me, extra reassurance from my side. I need more people to be to act as, what do we call that?
वो एक गारंटर होता है या
हाँ, guarantor, guarantor. तो
हम
I
उसकी
have to
गारंटी
provide
लेते हैं
more
एटसेट्रा.
number of people for that. कि मैं ज्यादा लोगों को जानती हूँ, and these people have been safe around me. I think you will also be safe after. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have words to, I don't know how to encapsulate what I really feel. I'm just relieved that you've laughed through this, which makes my job infinitely easier. But I'm really, really sorry that this is what you have experienced and continue to experience. I'm very embarrassed as an Indian, and ashamed.
Also,
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to put it out there. Just because I'm laughing does not mean it does not hurt and it does not matter.
Of course,
Because there are
absolutely.
people,
But like you
for me,
said,
my
there's no
coping
other way of
mechanism
looking at it beyond a certain point.
For me, my coping mechanism has been this way, but for other people, I think it's very difficult, who are much more sensitive and who tend to give into these situations. I think
Yeah,
it will be very difficult for them to cope up with it. And why would anyone, why would families, these families, why would they send their children out of their houses, to get pursue their career, to be successful outside their house? Because everybody is kind of scared because of these
absolutely.
things that happen. So this is actually very disturbing. But yeah,
Huh, but
we
I
have
mean,
to.
again, this is big, it turned out to be rather grim. I will say, and I'm not just saying this so that we end on a positive spin or so that I make you feel better, but really speaking, I've realized in the case of so many social atrocities, evils, and wrongs, ultimately, the only thing that really brings about tangible change is education. And by education I mean like a genuine mindset shift and evolution of a few people, which then has a ripple effect. And of that, somebody such as yourself is an extremely important component. So one can only live in hope that ultimately this narrative, which is the reality, outweighs any other narrative that might be getting perpetuated.
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. And I think we still have this mindset, like wherever I go, there is this kind of surprising element that they have for me, that, oh my God, you're from this community, you're educated, and I'm not that typical
sure,
hijab
sure. Yeah,
wearing girl. So
yeah.
they have these speculations around me. Oh, how come you're this forward? How come your family is this forward? You don't wear the supposed, the hijab, and
Absolutely. Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
also
Yeah, yeah. You shatter all the
uh,
stereotypes, right? So it's the
so
moment we get out of the box that society's put us in, it becomes very uncomfortable for people.
and it becomes very they don't know how to react
हाँ,
in those
because वो बहुत
situations.
suspicious हो जाते हैं.
ये अभी क्या बोले?
Yeah,
हमें
absolutely.
तो
Well,
लगा था ये लोग ऐसे भी
on
नहीं.
that bombshell of a note, and in the interest of time, I've already grossly overstayed my welcome. So thank you very, very much for that really sort of vulnerable, brave, and naked conversation. We really appreciate it. These things aren't pleasant to talk about. They're not no fun to talk about, but I really think that they're important to talk about more and more. So thank you. All the best with your work, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karthik, for having me and for such wonderful words. And I have had the best time talking about it, because and also for giving me this platform, for considering me to be the person who could speak about these things. And I don't know if I've laughed a lot, but I enjoyed. That is why I was laughing. So
Wonderful. That
yeah,
was the whole idea.
thank you.